Breaking news in a CBS Sports HQ. Monday Night Football between the Bills and the Bengals has been postponed. This comes after Bills safety Damar Hamlin was taken off by ambulance in the first quarter. Following a hit on Cincinnati receiver T. Higgins, Hamlin rose to his feet and then collapsed moments later. CPR was administered on field before the ambulance left for University of Cincinnati Medical Center, a level 1 trauma unit. Hamlin is listed as in critical condition. Here's an official statement from the NFL that reads, tonight's Buffalo Bills-Cincinnati Bengals game has been postponed after Buffalo Bills' Damar Hamlin collapsed, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced. Hamlin received immediate medical attention on field by team and independent medical staff and local paramedics. He's been transported to a local hospital where he's in critical condition. Our thoughts are with Damar and the Buffalo Bills. We will provide more information as it becomes available. The NFL has been in constant communication with the NFL Players Association, which is in agreement with postponing the game. Joining us now, a man who made his living in this league and now doing great work here on CBS Sports HQ, breaking it all down. B-Mac, as we take in the sights and the scenes here on Monday Night Football, the idea of football becomes very, very small. I know we talked about earlier the things you were feeling in that moment. Knowing what we do now and moving forward here with postponing this game, what is your reaction to this moment, which seems very unprecedented?
Well, I'm happy to hear the NFL is deciding to cancel this ball game for tonight. I feel like that's the best thing to do, and showing compassion and just being concerned about what's going on with our brother in regards to regaining play. It didn't make any sense. Now, for us, it's all about just the wait and see process, waiting for the best in regards to his condition. A very, very difficult thing to witness. We know collisions is a part of the game of football. We know sometimes it can be very, very ugly to see, to be a part of, but it's a part of the game, unfortunately. And to see, Hamlin do something that he's been called to do, doing it the right way and seeing what happened after the fact, it's tough. It's tough. And I think the best thing to do now in regards to Buffalo and Cincinnati, try to support him and his family as best as possible. And just, all of us, get on our knees and pray for the best.
We now welcome in Brady Quinn, man who made his living in this league and is here with us on CBS Sports HQ, joining us by phone. Brady, I'm just interested here, obviously grave scenes out in front of us on Monday Night Football. How are you processing those scenes and the information we do have?
I mean, the first thing is just watching the game and seeing the play itself is you're unsure exactly of what took place. I think everyone's so conscious now of head injuries, and anytime a player it falls to the ground or hits with another player, you're always thinking initially it's a head injury, it's a spinal cord injury. And in this case, it was odd because of the way Damar Hamlin got up after the initial hit on T. Higgins and then collapsed. But at the same time, horrifying to be able to then see the amount of medical attention that the player received. I mean, typically as a player, you almost become callous a little bit to seeing guys get up and guys be able to get past these sorts of, injuries, and you're expecting him to be okay. And these are guys who are warriors who spend their entire lives playing a physical game and are able to oftentimes make it through unscathed, or at least to a degree in which they're able to walk off the field. And in this case, as you continue to see him laying on the field motionless, and then the medical teams, working to provide CPR, it only became really a nightmare, and hoping and praying for the best for him and obviously his family.
Most definitely, we share those thoughts, Brady. It was what appeared to be a routine collision on field, but the reaction and then the 30 minutes to follow were anything but. Taking a look at some of the scenes we've been presented with beyond Hamlin leaving the field, but the brotherhood of the NFL that seems to come to the forefront in moments like this. Can you speak to that relationship that you share with players that you might not even know?
No, I mean, we went through a tragedy back in 2012 where Javon Belcher, the day before he played a game, took his own life and the life of another. And I remember thinking at that point in time, how is it possible that we could play a game the following day? And the NFL pushed forward and played that game. And, I think the rest of the season was a bit of a blur. We were still in a state of shock as we went through, the ceremonies that preceded that. And that's the tough thing about tonight is witnessing everything that we all saw out there and the shock and, the way players reacted to it and thinking, how could you possibly even contemplate playing a football game? I mean, how meaningless does that seem? And I'm thankful to see guys who are leaders like Zach Taylor and Sean McDermott, who, there are a lot of things on the line right now, in particular this late in the season for both of these teams. But understanding the importance really matters in the health and well-being of this particular player and really all their players, their emotional and mental stability and how they're processing all of this. So to me, I'm thankful there's coaches like that, like Zach Taylor and Sean McDermott, who can step in and be able to do the right things to maybe even force to want to call this thing off.
Surely it was the right decision to make here on Monday night, Brady. I'm interested in your perspective on all things NFL, but in moments like this specifically, because there is a contract you sort of have to sign to yourself to put that helmet and shoulder pads on and take the field at any level, but specifically at the NFL level. Did that ever dawn upon you during your playing days, before, during, after the agreement you were making to take that field?
Yeah, I mean, I remember going through a back injury my 7th year in the league. And after surgery and having complications from the back injury where I dropped foot and had other injuries, and I was laid up and I had spinal fluid leaks, which anyone who's dealt with that sort of symptom from going through the process of a back injury and diagnosing what exactly the issues are and dealing with spinal fluid leaks, maybe extreme migraines and the inability to really stand upright because you literally had spinal fluid leaking out of your spinal canal. You go through those complications and it really makes you contemplate what you're doing and what you're putting your body through in order to play the game you love. And I remember thinking to myself, am I ever going to feel the same? Am I ever going to be able to move my lower extremity, in particular my right leg where I drop foot with it, the same way I could before? And it makes you question long term and what that looks like running around playing with your kids someday. So there's all those things that start to run through your mind, I think, after the fact, and you suffer these sorts of injuries and you kind of let your mind wander to that place. But, the reality is so many players prepare and practice and train and feel like they're Superman out there. And it only comes to these sort of catastrophic events where you realize you're human like everyone else.
Well, Brady, we appreciate you so much for taking the time and shedding some light here as we hope for all the best. Our prayers, our thoughts with Damar Hamlin and with the entire Bills family. Thank you, Brady.